Welcome to the Athletic Brewing post-race report. Alongside Didi Griesbauer, I'm Marinda Carfrey. The Ironman Pro Series was at IRONMAN 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun. Let's start with the pro women's race recap.
No surprises out of the start. It was swim superstar Lauren Brandon who took the lead, but this time she had a little bit of company.
She had a little bit of company, absolutely. Caroline Pola also right there with her. We had Beck Clark in there as well in that front group. We had Lena Messler as well in there. Rachel Olsen only a few seconds back at 50 seconds, and Ellie Soltas around 50 seconds back as well. But a dominant performance, as always, from Lauren Brandon.
Lauren Brandon in the swim, but once they got onto dry land, it was Caroline Pola who actually would outrun Lauren Brandon, who had a little bit of trouble getting into a race kit. She would relinquish the lead through transition. Caroline Pola would seize the lead, and Rinny, she never looked back.
Yeah, Lauren Brandon opting to swim with that race kit down. That always takes a little bit of extra time in transition, as you can see. Struggling to get it up over the shoulder. You got to get that zipped up nicely before you hop out onto the bike. But Caroline Pola making quick work of transition. I think she had the fastest transition time running out onto the bike. And then she was joined by Lena Messner.
Yeah, Lena Meissner would be the only one to join Caroline Pola through the opening kilometers. The two would ride together through the opening 15-ish kilometers. But little by little, Caroline Pola extended that elastic, and eventually it snapped, and she was on her own at the front of the race.
Yeah, she was just on a winning performance, and that's what she did the weekend before in Tallinn, but this weekend she was just moving. We had Ellie Soltas pushing really hard through the middle stages of the bike, and she was joined by a few other athletes, Lisa Norden, Lisa Pertner, and also Grace Tech.
Yeah, the chasers would try to get organized, but Caroline Pola continued to extend her lead throughout the bike. Laura Madsen would join that chase group as well, and they did all that they could. And for a while, they brought the lead down to just 1:45, but eventually through the closing stages of the bike, Caroline Pola was able to extend that to just over 2 minutes by the time she got back to transition. As we take a look at some of her descending skills, pretty key here, and athletes taking advantage of those technical abilities here as we look at the chasers as they got back down into the valley in the flatter section, with Ellie Salthouse leading the charge with Lisa Norden, Grace Tech as well in that group. But it was all Caroline Pola.
All Caroline Pola. We had Lena Messner, Els Visser, and Laura Madsen in the second chase, but this is the third chase with Ellie Salthouse leading the charge. Grace Tech sitting in there as well. Lisa Norden, as we know, a super strong biker, riding along in that third group.
Yeah, Lisa Norden would try to use some of that bike strength and insert herself into the conversation in the late stages of the bike. Would she be able to run? Time would tell. But Laura Madsen also very, very strong on the bike as well, trying to put herself in contention to possibly run down Caroline Pola should anything have gone wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. She was within reach, but Caroline Pola, super strong, coming off the bike. Looking great at those opening miles of the run too, up on her toes, bouncy, just looking super strong.
Yep, into transition, she would be in and out, and behind her, Laura Madsen trailed by 2:02, Lena Meissner by 2:14, Els Visser by 2:24. Els putting together a much stronger performance than she did a week ago, and then the rest of the chasers, Ellie Salthouse, Grace Tech, Lisa Pertier in there, Lisa Norden as well.
And then we had Lena Messner here. She was struggling a little bit with that heat towards that middle stage of the run. You saw her stopping and having to walk, but Laura Madsen also holding on to second place, running very well, but also struggling with the heat today.
Yeah, a lot of the athletes, they've been talking pre-race about how the heat and humidity had surprised them here, but didn't seem to be a problem for Caroline Pola. bolstered by the confidence of that win a week ago in Tallinn in Estonia. She was just too good on the day, and by the time she made it to the finish line, Grace Tech ate into her lead, but it was too little too late, and Caroline Pola would take the tape for the second weekend in a row.
Yeah, phenomenal performance by Caroline Pola. And then we have Grace Tech running into second place in that last kilometre of the run, and Laura Madsen holding on to third place. Happy to be done with the day, I think.
Absolutely. It was an epic battle for the women. As we take a look at our top 10, it was Caroline Pola from Germany, Grace Tech in second, Laura Madsen in third. Ellie Salthouse would finish fourth. Els Visser faded to fifth, but still a great performance for her, adding 2,255 points to her points total. Lisa Pertier in sixth. Daniela Kleiser in seventh. It was Marjolaine Pierre in eighth place. Lisa Norden would fade to ninth, but added 2,093 points to her point total. And Kate Curran from Great Britain rounded out your women's top 10 with a 4:24.58.
And then we go over and look at the Ironman Pro Series standings. No change in the top three. We still have Jackie Herring sitting on top with 14,487 points. Danielle Lewis, also from the US, in 13,915. Maya Sage Nilsson sitting in third, 12,672 points. Then we have Els Visser moving up four, and we're going to be looking to Els Visser for in a couple of weeks in Nice as well, moving up to fourth place, 12,445 points. Kat Matthews slipping down to fifth. Alice Alberts also slipping down one to sixth place. Kylie Simpson slipping down in seventh. She's at 10,900 points. Daniela Blimel, unfortunately, cramping today and unable to finish, but she slipped down a slot to eighth. Then we have Erin Schenkel sitting in ninth from Canada, and Fenella Langridge rounding out our top 10 from the UK, 9,971 points. But let's recap this men's race from today here in Zell MC.
Actually, I won't even say early this morning because it was an 11 a.m. start time, but a massive men's field full of talent. It was hot and fast off the start line.
Yeah, we had some phenomenal swims here. Non-wetsuit, as you see, beautiful course here in Zell MC. 900 meters out, swam across and then basically straight back in. So a nice straightaway for the athletes. We had about four men come together at the start, the swim, and then it
was Martin
went down to two.
Demuth, Magnus Manor. Jan Stratman ended up getting dropped from that lead group, but came out of the water in third place with Florian Engert in tow. A lot of the chasers then about 30 seconds back. That was a massive pack as the athletes made their way out of Lake Zell and into transition. They had a bit of a run getting into transition, and that allowed for that massive chase group that you see coming out of the water to gain ground on the leaders. So really, by the time they got on to the full gas bike course, Rinny, they were really all together.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Martin Demuth out first, Magnus Manor. Those were the two men out together at the start. And then we had those other two men, Jan Stratman and Florian Engert, out right behind. But yeah, as you see, a big pack at the start of this bike.
Yeah, it was Maximilian Sperl who would lead the group out through the first 15K. There was a lot of out and back. We saw Jan Stratman battling at the front, but a lot of back and forth. A few penalties assessed for drafting. Again, they just really tight roads. A couple of blocking penalties, again, would hit some of these athletes and impact.
Slipstreaming as well.
Yeah, slipstreaming as well. So a lot of penalties there. So our race technical officials working overtime. Stratman moved himself into the lead, but that would be brief.
Yeah, certainly. We had then Mika Newt come to the front at the start of this climb, and he just put the hammer down. The only one that was able to go with him was Helle Hines, and he was able to stay with him on the uphill section, but then it was all Mika Newt.
Yeah, from then it really was all Mika Newt. The rest of the men's field would sort themselves out throughout the rest of the full gas bike course. As you said, Jelle Hines put up a good battle up the climb, but Mika Newt just absolutely too strong on the day. There we see Jelle Hines getting the thumbs up as he is the only one that can answer the call of Mika Newt in the earlier stages through the climb. But on the descent, it was Mika Newt who let it rip.
He absolutely let it rip on this descent and dropped Jelle Hines But then on the flat section, he was just taking minutes out of the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. The men would give chase through the rest of the climb, but they had absolutely no answer for the German. He had it his way through the rest of the bike split, and when all was said and done and the dust settled, he entered T2 with a 4-minute and 45-second lead over Jelle Heens and over 5:47 over Jan Stratman, Yannick Stoll, Magnus Manner, and Yannick Schofler.
Yeah, 2:02 bike split there for Mika Nut, just flying through that bike and not a fast bike by any means, but he got into the run, and from the outset, he just looked great.
Yeah, he really did. Through the judgment zone, we said, hey, did he overdo it on the bike? Is he going to cramp? What's going to happen? But he settled in, and I will say, you could tell he was working, right? The expression on his face told the story of how much work he had done on the bike. Jelle Heens would be second off the bike. Again, 4:45 down. He would transition and head out of transition like a man on a mission. And as much as it looked like he was battling, Mika Nut was just too strong.
Absolutely, and we saw those opening splits. Those splits weren't changing, and this is the main pack of men coming in now. Just a massive group of men coming in from fourth onwards.
Yep, but it was Mika Nut who would continue to drive the pace and actually extend his lead on Jelle Heens throughout the course of the half marathon. Jelle Heens threw all he could at Mika Nut, but Mika was just too strong.
Yeah, and it was late in the run that we saw Gregor Payet come up into third position, a new name to us, but Mika Nut was the man of the moment, taking that title with a race best time, finishing in 3:46.04. A phenomenal performance from Mika.
Blonde locks blowing in the breeze.
He let his hair down for sure at the end of that run and enjoyed that victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Jelle Heens would secure his second place finish, losing another 20 seconds. And then, as you said, it was the new man, the new name, the new face, Gregor Payet, coming in, rounding out the podium. He had a battle with fourth place Tom Hug, but would secure that third place on the podium. So as we take a look at our overall results, Mika Nut, Jelle Heens, Gregor Payet, Tom Hug, Jan Stratman, Itamar Ished, Jonas Hoffman, Yannick Schofler, Florian Engert, and Bart Arnault would round out the top 10.
And as we look at the Ironman Pro Series standings, we see Arnaud Guillot move up 8 spots, a massive mover. Also Bradley Weiss moving up 8 spots into fourth. A couple of the guys moving down. Also Robert Callan coming up 5 spots into 8th. So a few movers and shakers in that top 10 after today's performance. The next Ironman Pro Series broadcast will be the VinFast Ironman World Championship Women's Race in Nice, France on September 22nd. Coverage will begin with the body marking show at 5:15 a.m. Central European Summertime. Watch live for free at proseries.ironman.com. Outside TV, DAZN, and L'Equipe. This has been the Athletic Brewing post-race report. For Didi Griesbauer, I'm Marinda Carfrey. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in Nice.